Hi everyone, I'm Dom and welcome back to my channel. These are the gaming news. First, let's go through game releases and announcements. Big one for PlayStation 5. Forza Horizon 5 is launching on PS5. So all the PlayStation users will finally be able to play this a magnificent game that was Xbox exclusive. It's one of the big three: Gears, Halo, and Forza. Now one of those three is finally being released on PlayStation. As we know, with the Microsoft games, there is no red tape. Anything can be launched onto PlayStation, as we're gonna discuss just in a second. So, Forza Horizon 5, absolutely fantastic racing game, beautiful Mexico, beautiful graphics, ton of things to do. Probably top game for me. One at least top three minimum in this generation. I highly recommend it. If you never played it on PC or you never played it on Xbox, get it on PlayStation because it's definitely worth it. It's worth the money. With the amount of the expansion packs, DLCs, free content, a lot of free content that the devs release to that game, it's definitely worth it. And yeah, it plays fantastic, looks fantastic. It's a no-brainer. Another game, Days Gone Remastered, also launching on PlayStation 5, so this is actually a proper remaster of Days Gone. Remember, we used to have Days Gone launched on PS4, and then there was a patch for PS5 that bumped up the graphics and the frame rate. This one is, let's say, completely new game. I don't understand this kind of remasters, but PlayStation does them. Anyway, they did that with Horizon Zero Dawn. They did that with The Last of Us, and now they're doing this with Days Gone. So if you like zombie games and you would want to see them in 4K and 60 frames per second, and with some of the quality of life enhancements, now it's the right time. Another remaster has been announced. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. It has been shadow dropped during the Bethesda stream. This is launching onto all the consoles plus Game Pass for Game Pass Ultimate for Xbox and PC. And it's launching obviously on PlayStation 5 as well. So Oblivion, fantastic game from 360 era. If you think 360, you will definitely think about Oblivion. If you even didn't play it, this game was huge back then, and it's still huge now. So really happy that they remastered it. It looks gorgeous, absolutely fantastic graphics. They changed a little bit the physics as well. The performance obviously is improved. There's some changes into UI as well. Some quality of life enhancements. So it's definitely great time to exploring Cyrodiil, and yeah, I do recommend, especially if you have a Game Pass, you can just try it as part of a subscription, see if you like it or not. But I recommend that game. I used to play it on 360 and I loved it, and I will definitely play it now on my Series X. Another game, this one is probably one of the Game of the Year contenders. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 launched on all the consoles and PC, and it launched straight into Game Pass Ultimate. So again, another game, if you have XP, you will be able to play day and date. It has great reviews, high score on Metacritic, both from fans and the reviewers. Absolutely amazing graphics, great narrative, and it blends JRPG with action game. It's kind of like Final Fantasy, but it's not. It's a Western take on it. And it's from guys that used to work at Ubisoft. They decided they want to make a single player game by their own, and they did, and it's fantastic. So kudos for that. I haven't played it yet, but I saw the reviews, I saw the videos of it, and it looks fantastic. I will definitely be playing that game very, very soon. Now, some of the game announcements. Grand Theft Auto has been delayed to May 2026. Obviously, we want the game to be polished. We want the game to be without the bugs. Red Dead Redemption 2 showed that the game can be launched almost in a perfect state as long as you gave the devs the time. So here it is, another year, another 9 months from when the game's supposed to launch in around September, October time this year. It has been moved all the way to May. Will there be any more delays? Perhaps. It is Rockstar. They won't release the game until they're very, very happy. And kudos to that. Not many companies can do that. Obviously, with this comes also another thing, that the game will probably be launched on at the least $80, if not 90, if not 100. So brace yourself for that. If the game is as big as it's suggested, then those $100 might take you, might mean that you're gonna have a lot of time with that game. But obviously, if you don't want to pay that much money, wait for a sale, as I will. Another game announcement: Borderlands 4 has been moved forward. That's unusual thing, but it has been moved forward to September 12th from the end of September. So that's really good. There was a state of play. It showed the game mechanics. It showed more of the gameplay, and it looks very impressive. It looked chaotic, as always the Borderlands game do look. So I'm looking forward to hear even more about this game, and really good that they obviously they feel that the game is really in a really good state. If they're moving the launch forward by 2 weeks, that's always something nice to hear. Another announcement was another remake. This one comes from Microsoft again. Gears of War 1 Reload will be launched on all the consoles, and PC means it's launching on PlayStation. Well, I say all the consoles. I'm not sure about the Switch 2. There was no Switch 2 official announcement. I don't know if it's going to be there or not. But it's launching on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. So again, PlayStation fans can play another Xbox game that used to be only on Xbox exclusive. We don't hear anything yet about older games. Gears 2, 3, and Judgment. Will that be launching also on PlayStation? Will there be another remix from those games? We don't know. There was rumored a whole trilogy supposed to be remastered or remade, but this one is just one game, just the first one. So I wonder if they just split that trilogy into, they split that game that's supposed to come out for a while now, because it has been rumored for a few years even, into 3 separate games or 4 separate games, and they're just launching it for $40 each. Or there was never a trilogy or quadrilogy game in development, and you're always supposed to be separate. We don't know that, but that's launching at the end of August. So basically there's no red tape. Everything can be launched on PlayStation from Microsoft. Microsoft chooses the way that they want to sell more games. They don't really care that much about the console. They still want to release the new console, but ultimately you don't need it anymore. You might need to wait some more time for the games that Microsoft is developing and publishing to be launched on your PlayStation or Switch. But as long as you got a PC, you're covered. And if you got Xbox, you're covered. And if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you're covered completely. You can play wherever you really want, and don't pay an extra money for it. Obviously, those games now will be costing $80 with a price hike that has been announced that we're going to talk about in a second. Those games are going to cost $80. So that's roughly half a price of yearly Game Pass subscription. This just shows how much of, and I wonder if this is a strategic move as well as talking about inflation and raising development costs. Quite a good strategy move, I think, by Microsoft, if you say it that way, because that will draw more people into Game Pass. If you think that Microsoft this year alone is launching 8 or maybe even 10 games, 8 that we know, and each of those games will in the future cost $80, or let's say maybe smaller games like the remakes will cost $60 or $50, but the full games like Avowed, like Side of Midnight, like Doom, The Dark Ages will be launching on $80 in the future. Then the cost of a Game Pass is very, very attractive to everyone. Obviously, not everyone likes subscriptions. People prefer to own games, but the thing is, with digital games, you don't own them fully by yourself anyway. If ever Microsoft decides to scrap their consoles, scrap their ecosystems completely, I can't imagine it happening. But let's say that for the sake of argument, it does happen. You don't actually own the games; they won't be yours fully, unless they will find out the way to that you'll be able to download this game on some older physical hardware, that you'll be able to play that from there, maybe. At the moment, if you want to fully own the game, you have to buy them physically. Digital games are not your property if you look into terms and conditions. So that takes us to something I already mentioned, price increase that Xbox or Microsoft has announced for Xbox consoles, accessories, and games. So all the consoles will go up by different amounts: $80, $100, depending on the console. Series S is going up by $80, and Series X is going up by $100. And there's obviously 2 terabyte versions, digital only Series X, that will also have a price increase. Accessories, so all the controllers going up by $5 from $59.99 to $64.99. The same increase is happening in UK and all over the world really. And the games, first party games, will be launching at $80 starting this holiday season. However, international pricing for the game has yet to be confirmed, so don't quote me on that, but this might mean that maybe just the games in the States are being more expensive. I doubt that, but maybe for whatever reason there will, for the consoles and accessories, the price of them in EU and UK has been announced, but not for the games. Games have only price in dollars. So that's a bit surprising. Obviously, Microsoft is blaming development costs, economic pressures, tariffs, component costs. Because of the tariffs, the component costs are going higher. I bought my Series X on launch for £450, and now that console is worth £500. How does that work? That was 5 years ago. I mean, I get it. The components going up in price. That means that they need to increase the price of their consoles. But surely the component costs at some point have gone down because it's easier to make those components. I don't know. I don't understand that. But I more don't understand the increase in game prices. We already seen that with the Nintendo, we've seen that with PlayStation, and now we're seeing that with Microsoft. They keep blaming development costs, and my answer is don't make games that big. I mean, like most people don't need games that are over 100 hours long. Most people are satisfied with the games that are up to 50 hours long, as long as they have good gameplay, good narrative, you know. Um, the graphics, they are debatable. Some people obviously want the best of the best. I'm somewhere in the middle. I prefer gameplay and the good narrative over the graphics. Um, so if you want to have lower development costs, have the games a bit smaller. Obviously, there will be some games that will be massive anyway, like GTA 6, and you kind of expect that game to be costing more. But most games don't need to be that big. They don't need to take 150 hours to complete. You can make smaller games and people still will be happy. Just don't have a lot of bloat in your games, and everyone will be happy about that. But that's just my opinion. Also, think about this way: people very often comparing this time in the 90s, games cost X amount of money, and that equals to $80 or $90 now. Well, yeah, but you didn't have digital distribution. Your distribution costs were much higher because you had to package the game in a big boxes. You remember those big boxes that were on the shelves with big instructions inside, big manuals. Plus, very often those boxes were coming with some freebies, with some postcards, with some stickers, and so on and so on. I mean, the game box in a box was also substantial very often. So yeah, you had those costs. At the moment, as soon as you launch in the game on a store on PlayStation or Xbox, that goes straight to over 100 million players. Or if you're launching it on Steam, that goes to over 100 million players just there. So you have access to much more global audience than you had in the past. Obviously now, because of those development costs going so high, the game has to sell more. So it's not anymore that it has to sell 1 million copies to return its value. No, it has to sell in 20 million copies to actually rebank the value. But again, that goes back to of how much time you spend on developing the game. You can make the game smaller and people will be still happy as long as that game has good narrative, has good gameplay, it's not buggy. You will still make people happy just by doing those kind of things. So yeah, I don't understand increase in prices. Obviously now Microsoft can say, oh, Switch 2 titles will be even more expensive or the same expensive, and PlayStation is the same. So there you have it. People voting with the wallets. If people have really voted with the wallets, they will be stop buying games on day one. They'll wait 2-3 months and buy it on sales. That's what I do. I vote with my wallet. I never buy a game fully priced. I always wait. The only time I buy a game fully priced is when I'm using the rewards points from Microsoft. So there are points that you can get for free. Just spend some time on the rewards portal. You can get enough points, and then you can change those points into money and purchase the game. This is the only time I pay full price because that's not my money in a way. But other than that, I always wait for a sale. And my backlog is still massive. I don't need to buy the games day one. People need to stop thinking about FOMO, and just vote with the wallets. You don't need that Assassin's Creed game straight away. You don't need the latest Gears of War or latest Halo or latest Forza. Vote with the wallets, yeah? If you want those games day one, okay, maybe in the Microsoft case, have a subscription, yeah, to Game Pass. At least you're gonna get the games this way. It will be cheaper than buying them separately, you know. With a PlayStation, just wait. Buy the game second hand. Or again, you could a bit longer, but also you could wait until that game goes into the service, into the subscription service. On Steam, wait for the sales. Plenty of sales throughout the year. I'm sure you can wait. People need to start voting with their wallets. And those companies will start realizing that they can't just charge people that much money. You know, people don't have that much spending income, you know. That's another thing that you need to think about when you talk about higher game prices, that people don't have as big incomes on spending on entertainment anymore. You know, that shrink. You know, the rent prices, the house prices, the mortgage prices went up. Those things were up massively. Food prices went up massively. Energy prices went up massively. You know, if you have a car, cars in price went massively. So if you're paying monthly for the car, that went up, but your wage didn't went up by that much. You know, I named just 5 things that went up. You know, and your wage didn't really went up by 50 or 100%, unless you change the jobs, and obviously, or you or you got the new qualifications and you have a better job. That's a bit different. But if you stay in the same position for the last 10 years, you're not much better than you were 10 years ago, you know, with all the inflating prices on everything else. And now they're asking us to spend $80 or $90 on games. People just don't have that income. You will see that the gaming revenue will decline, and I think that's why Microsoft and Sony will push you towards subscription services, because subscription services are tiny, you know, on a monthly basis. Obviously, on the yearly basis, they're like over £100 or dollars, but monthly they $12-16, you know, that they are just small increases in your expenditure, and they give you access to ton of games. And with Microsoft, they give you access to ton of day and day games that they release. So if you think about Microsoft releasing 8 games per year, publishing 8 games per year, and now imagine that game, each of those is $80. That's £640, $640. Subscription service will cost you less than 200. So there is a no-brainer what they're trying to do here. They try to push you towards those services. They do, really do, because that's also where they get the most amount of money from. I mean, last time I checked, Game Pass gets them $3 to $4 billion per year alone. Yeah. All right. So that was my take on all the news. Obviously, getting a bit of hand at the end with Xbox and Microsoft and their pricing. So let me know what's your take on it. Let me know what you think about those price increases and the games that are coming out. Let me know if you're gonna be buying any of them or wait for the sales. Leave a like under this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, that obviously helps. And check my other videos. I recently made a NES retro video where I go back to the games that I played when I was very, very young on my first console, and also check some Lego news if you enjoy building Lego blocks. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. See you then. Bye bye.